Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. The climatic um, intro to the live here. Um, how's everybody doing? Matt, how are you?
I am doing well. How about yourself, Michael?
Doing good. Doing good. Um, so we do have a severe thunderstorm watch that has been issued for. Let's see. Do we is the watch local? Yeah, it is local. Um,
Yep.
let's pull up the radar here, and I will share the screen with folks. Allow to share screen. We're going to come over here. We're going to share. Um, we're going to share this here. Okay. And you guys can see that, yeah, nice and visual there. I'm going to change these here so that this is a little bit more easy to see us, our ugly mugs here. There we go. See if we can do this. There we go. Okay. All right, guys. So yeah, we do have a severe thunderstorm watch that's been issued. Um, and we have, you can see it's been across the central portion, north central Indiana, and a lot of central Indiana, as we have this cluster of storms now diving to the south. We'll put this radar into motion. This severe thunderstorm watch out ahead of a pretty nasty Boeing segment of storms. Um, in fact, the warnings out ahead of this are for destructive thunderstorm winds of 80 miles per hour or greater. Um, Multiple. I mean, this is a parade of alerts here moving down into the area. So we got tornado warnings, we have destructive thunderstorm warnings, and among out ahead in an environment that is absolutely loaded with instability and cape and the potential for this to be pretty nasty as it moves in.
Yeah, it's, for any time of the year, any part of the country, the amount of instability we're seeing out ahead of the storm cluster is kind of wild, let alone into Indiana. I am concerned that as this does drift, say towards like a Lafayette, Kokomo, even Indianapolis, 70 plus mile per hour wind gusts. There was a warning, I believe it was in northwestern Indiana, Michael, of 100 mile per hour wind warning for one of these storms. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
absolutely wild.
that's crazy. That's crazy talk. Okay. So let's try to get our bearings here. Um, and you can see just this kind of illustrates the amount of lightning out within this storm. You can kind of see just this probably illustrates the instability to a different level. On this view right here, we're picking up 4,300 cloud to ground lightning strikes. So a very charged environment. Matt, I am getting my sound on your computer. You might either want to turn it down or put headphones in. I'm not sure.
How about now?
Uh, let's see. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, better. That's better. Okay.
Okay.
Better for sure. So this is the thunderstorm cluster we're watching now. I do believe that a nowcast was just sent out,
Yes.
and I am going to show that real quick for all the folks watching. If I go to my location here, yeah, my location's in Johnson County. I can see this nowcast was just sent out. This is the timing that the team has come up with, and honestly, a huge shout out to Brett Waltz, who made the gutsy call this morning to go with this. And I'll tell you, I was a little skeptical this morning of this panning out,
Me too.
and now it's really starting to pack a serious punch. This thing may lay down some pretty nasty stuff as it comes south.
Yeah. And we do have some custom BAM tornado warnings. One south of Valparaiso, another one just northwest of South Bend. I do think as this moves southeast, that's certainly more of a secondary threat, but wind gusts of 70, 80 miles per hour is certainly nothing to ignore by any stretch of the imagination. The number one overall threat with this will be the winds. But keep in mind, there is a secondary embedded spin up within this as well. That'll be possible.
Yep. Um, and folks, kind of starting to tune in right now. I think the an initial thought process of arrival looks to be from that kind of that central Indiana time frame, Muncie to Indy, right about 5 p.m. 5 to 5:30 looks to be the thinking right now, based on latest timing.
Yeah, and keep in mind with this, this is something one models have struggled with, and models will likely continue to struggle with. That's not uncommon with these type of storm clusters. For any of you model watchers out there, you're going to notice the timing that Michael's showing right now is just faster than what any model you may look at has. And what we're doing on our end, we're kind of just we're looking at it on the radar. We're getting a speed of it and just kind of going out with that speed that we're seeing on the radar. Because to be honest, at this point, models aren't in particular too well. So we're kind of more in a what I would call nowcast mode versus looking at the models. So keep that in mind for those who may be a little bit more weather inclined, so to speak.
100%. I will see. I will say, we have folks that are kind of talking about the movement of this, and I'll give you a little bit of a hint into our world of what we look for when we want to find the movement of these things. And we look for the mixed layer cape, and essentially what we're going to look for is the gradient in the cape, um, and that gradient. I'm gonna screenshot this so I can kind of give you guys a good idea of what I'm talking about here. The gradient that these clusters like to ride uh, can give us a good idea of an indication of where it's going to go. Now, let me come over here and do this real quick. Nope, I don't want that. Get off there. Um, because I do want to illustrate this for folks. And if I can get this to 1 second, guys. Allow share window. Come on now. There it goes. Okay. You can see the gradient of where the highest levels of energy are. And this helps us. This is kind of what we can go by to establish where movement might favor. Okay. And that gradient, if you will, is kind of like this.
Mhm.
Now, obviously, the cluster's right here, but this to me kind of illustrates this just in the way that gradient is shaped
Mhm.
generally, you know um, and this is mixed layer cape, and again, values of north of 3000 into 4500 there is obviously extremely impressive. As we look at other if we look at like most unstable cape or surface based cape, those values are over 6000 in northwest Indiana. So these thunderstorms are certainly going to have immense levels of energy and instability to pack at one hell of a punch with these things. But we like to look at these gradients as an indication. So I don't necessarily know that they'll be moving east, but a southeast or an east southeast component is the idea that we're kind of thinking about at this current point in time.
Yeah, and you can just loop the radar, right? And you can see the southeast movement of this. That likely continues as it tries to find that gradient, and especially this grouping by Roselawn approaching North Judson in northwestern Indiana. That looks to be the big one of the bunch. That's the area of most concern associated with that particular area of storms, which has produced some pretty significant severe warnings so far. Again, there was a time there was a 100-mile-per-hour wind gust warning for a spot in northwestern Indiana. So it's not something you see every day, and certainly a bit of a concerning look as this moves to the south southeast with time.
I can definitely see some folks though questioning the um, the component of some easterly movement there. I can see it. What I think is, I want to direct your attention up here as well. The additional development on the west end of this that's occurring
Hmm.
right here. Um, as this kind of forward propagates down, you're probably looking at more of a fan out of development.
Hmm. Yeah.
So likely the reason the watch is that far west, by the way, into eastern Illinois and covering all of central Indiana. Where does the worst of it go? Maybe you could argue right through the northeast side of the Indy metro area, but I don't. It's too early to even say that would happen. I don't think that would even be a wise thing to say right now. So,
No.
um, all intents purposes, I would expect a thunderstorm capable of 80 plus mile per hour winds, embedded tornadoes, incredible levels of lightning. Probably power outages, lightning fires are going to be a thing that's kind of common with these, but this thing is going to plow through right around 5 o'clock across central Indiana.
Yep. Looks to be pretty nasty. So I think Michael, the team was getting about 45 to 50 miles per hour of this. I'm sure you would agree, based off your experience, these can have a tendency to speed up with
Mm-hmm.
time,
Mm-hmm.
versus the other way of slowing down. And I think the point you made, that development behind towards Chicago, can really get the outflow going. And once that becomes a little bit even more pronounced than what it already is, it's certainly already pronounced. It may be closer to that 50 mile per hour mark versus say 45. So I believe Brett in his nowcast kind of split it down the middle using 47 miles per hour for the ETA graphic.
Yeah, which is literally what I used 48. That's what I just did.
Perfect.
Um, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this, and you can probably see what I'm doing here to anticipate probably some additional growth um, on the south and west end of this. Um, and I'm going to take it out right through Cincinnati and probably about like this
Mm,
and finish that track there, which is incredibly similar to what they just sent out. It's 5:07 Muncie. It's 5 o'clock in Indy. Um, so timing for all of you asking. I see a lot of you asking. That's why I'm doing this. Try to correlate on the map where you're located. Okay. I've got some bigger cities that are populating, and you can see kind of the general idea if we're anticipating a 48 mile per hour movement, give or take. Could it speed up? For sure. Um, could it maintain this speed? Yes, it could do that as well. So this is just kind of current thought process of when, and where. Johnson, I see the Johnson County question, Greenwood, Whiteland area. 5:30. I think 5:30 is a good time. 2.5 hours from now. Timing for Cincinnati right around 7 Eastern. 6:30 to 7, give or take, based on current thought processes. Again,
yeah.
these can change. I mean, these can become get minds of their own very quickly. So, but I wouldn't be surprised to see, Matt, a rather large swath of severe weather reports through this over the next 3 hours. Probably quite a bit of wind reports really coming through this.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And keep in mind, it's 3 p.m. Eastern essentially right now. And so with the timing we're getting, that cluster is moving through Indianapolis during the very peak of daytime heating um, that we have. So even the timing of this is pretty favorable for some pretty robust wind gust as it does make its journey further to the southeast. So um, yeah, I would agree, Michael.
Okay. Um, Copy that. Copy that. Let's go. Just keeping that up for a little bit. I have similar atmospheric conditions in the past. Okay, can we zoom? I mean, yeah, I can zoom a little bit. Here's a little bit more zoomed in for the locations it's getting closer to. Um, Take a screenshot and zoom in. Definitely good advice. Matt, can you hear me okay in terms of
Yeah,
sound? Sound loud and clear. Okay.
yeah, you sound fine.
Okay. New severe thunderstorm warning now being issued up here across northeastern Indiana. Delete that storm track coming into South Bend, 60 mile per hour winds. Um, possible tornado detection and hail threat radar indicated of you know 3/4 of an inch. So new warning up there, moving east, and it's interesting. Moving east at 55 miles per hour. That's pretty quick timing in that
Yeah,
particular warning.
yeah, that's faster than what we've been getting. I don't know if you mentioned it, Michael, but that warning by Knox in Winnemac, that is for an 80-mile-per-hour winds.
Okay. Yep. So let's click on that. Knox, Winnemac, Francisville. This is a destructive thunderstorm warning. It's a little bit more aggressive wording used there for 80-mile-per-hour winds, 3/4 inch hail, a lot of lightning if you're in the Knox area. Um, really, I mean, honestly, if you're, let's go right through here. If you're kind of in Rensselaer, Francisville, Winnemac, Monterey, Plymouth area, this wall of wind is moments away. Um, we have a new flash flood warning on the west side of this being issued. Probably trailing thunderstorms have gone over the same place a few times. So some flash flood warnings are coming out as well. Not surprising, given we have dew points that are 80 degrees almost with 2 inch PWatts, and um,
Yeah,
so some of
and
these areas
the
getting some.
team did put out a flash flood watch earlier today in the Chicago area as well. So
Okay, yeah,
good
yeah,
work
guys.
by the
I,
team.
I I do want to mention in the comments and also here, we do have. If you want to get exact timing and get a little bit more information, you can get the BAM weather application. We've been sending out timing. Brett sent out a map this morning that was quite a bit ahead of everybody else, um, including me. Um, just a good job on seeing the threat of this and the the overall potential for tonight. In fact, this was the map. I'll show you guys the map that was issued very early this morning. That is, oh, is it gone?
It may be gone because of the nowcast, Michael.
I'm hated by everyone.
Let me get it for you.
I got it. I can grab a image of it. But again, just a great testament to the thought process this morning. I don't know if and when the Storm Prediction Center is going to upgrade their outlook. Not that it even matters at this point, but this was what was sent out this morning to clients on the risk area for tonight, and that's pretty that's pretty good.
Yeah.
From being sent this morning at 5 a.m. This, if you have the BAM weather platform, this was sent to you this morning at 5 o'clock with timing and discussions of everything. So great job by Brett there.
Yeah, for sure. And with how poorly modeled this has been, I mean, just giant kudos to Brett. If you're
Yeah,
watching Brett, great job, man.
yeah, absolutely. Um, go back to radar here. Zoom this out a little bit, and we're just going to kind of look at put this into motion. Hmm. Someone said, "Is this the only group, or is there a second round overnight?" No, I think this is it for tonight. I don't think there's a second round. I mean, I haven't paid major attention to it, but
There may be some going to be more messy, some pop-ups later on this evening, but man, this first round's really going to use up a lot of the instability. It's going to be tough to have a more robust second round. Um, there's some signals for Ohio getting into tomorrow morning for another round of some storms. But again, early AM storms, it's going to be nothing like what we're going to see and are seeing now into from the Chicago area into northwestern Indiana. So much more limited.
yep. Let's see. Any chance they'll weaken before it hits central Indy? I don't think so. In fact, if anything, it may only get stronger. I don't know. I mean, it looked. I don't know. We'll see. I don't see it weakening. I don't see. I don't see what would warrant weakening right now. Look at a couple other variables here. Look at lapse rates. Lapse rates haven't really been good regardless, but they're not horrible. Seven,
No.
7.5. Um, you don't really get wind shear with these, albeit there is some with this particular cluster. A little bit better wind shear in eastern Indiana, western Ohio, but um, none
Well,
that's worth mentioning.
the shear, Michael, I would think would gradually pick up with time
Yeah,
as
yeah.
the because there's a belt of strong winds aloft,
Mm-hmm.
um, basically right where the storms are ongoing now. With time, those should slowly creep south and east, and as a result, the shear should increase as well.
Mm. Yep. This is interesting too, noting the dry pocket of air aloft here, just east of this cluster. To me, the indication of the ability for this to cold pool
Yeah. Hmm.
and really create its own pretty nasty environment. And that's indicated by this much cooler air, this much cooler moisture in and around the vicinity of this cluster. The cold pooling component of this can really exacerbate or strengthen this as well as it continues to move on down in. We also have the ability to look at what we call the Derecho composite. Um, we see some indications of that uh, with some higher values here locally, and then also there's all kinds of things we can look at. We
Oh
also
yeah,
have the MCS maintenance, certainly a
very
MCS.
high.
Yeah, it's maxed out. So
Yeah. Even
I'm
Michael, the we talk about storm fuel, or we call it CAPE. If you look at the D CAPE, Michael, which kind of can give us an idea of the storm fuel that's available for the downdrafts. And anytime we see 1,000 plus, it's kind of game on for really strong wind gusts. And they are at least 1,000 for about every single spot in Indiana. The exception is where Michael mentioned that dry air in the far eastern Indiana and Ohio. They're less there because of that. There's so much dry air in some of those spots. But from a downdraft storm fuel perspective, it's these are very high values across the
mm-hmm.
board.
Yep.
Um, to me, when I see that, it favors some damaging wind threat just continuing through the Indy area.
Agreed. Let's see here. Nope, I don't want that. Get off of me.
Greg, Gold League at 6 p.m. Winding River. I'm not sure where Winding River is.
I think it's the northwest side, I think, but
He said this misses to the north and east of southwestern Indy area. My gut says no. Gut says it doesn't miss you, unfortunately, Greg. I think with time, I know you loop it on the radar, whatever radar thing you're looking at, it looks like it's moving southeast. But I do think with time, it will start to track a little bit more south.
definitely seeing significant growth on the western edge of this in the last 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Significant growth.
Which, to your point, Michael, should support additional rain cooled air. We call them outflow boundaries, gust front, multiple different words for it. And that should help kind of the western extent of this get going as well, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm very curious over the next 30 minutes to see what this does. This is going to be interesting to see how this evolves. You know, as a,
Yeah.
the next hour. This is kind of, I think this is kind of somewhat of the what I would call the beginning phases of possibly a derecho, depending on how long this thing can go. I'm curious to look at the severe weather reports here.
What is the Michael? Am I remembering correctly? For a derecho, it's 250 miles of
Yeah,
continuous.
we can let's look.
So Chicago, 250 miles from Chicago would be essentially Chicago to Cincinnati, essentially, as far as distance is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Gosh, if you include Eastern Wisconsin, they got blasted earlier today as well. I think it could fit the bill. 240 miles, looks like.
240 miles, and right now you look at severe weather reports. Um, you can see where they've been. They've been fairly skinny with that one piece of that.
Hmm.
Probably before this cluster has matured. I do not believe the cluster has matured yet. But you can see that the track it's following there so far today. It's generated basically about 48 to 49 severe weather reports out of this. So
Yep, been nasty. It has been nasty. Kirsten, the tornado threat's low. It's non-zero. These type of systems tend to be more of a wind gust deal, especially as they start to get more organized and lined out. Um, but we need to watch for some embedded rotation. Highly doubtful we get a tornado outbreak. It's more the wind gust I'm concerned about. Great question.
hmm.
Yeah.
Are all tornado warnings dropped? Yep, no active tornado warnings right now. Right now we're kind of just, you know, well, we have one up in eastern Wisconsin. The BAM team does. There's a secondary piece behind this. Um, this is interesting. This is not a traditional look.
Mm-mm.
We're
Very
gonna need,
messy.
yeah, we're gonna need to see the next hour, to really get a good idea of exactly what's going to happen here.
Yeah.
Let's go to real quick. Hmm. Yeah, I think maybe we're just kind of just doing some discussions internally.
Yep.
There's two pieces here interacting.
Well,
You've got this northern piece, but then you also have this is just an interesting look here.
one thing we have too, Michael, at least as far as the very short term is concerned, is that piece in northwestern Indiana that's packing the most punch. Um, Out ahead of it, there's just widespread stratiform storms
Mm-hmm.
out ahead of it. I'm very curious once that leading edge kind of gets out ahead of that stratiform rain, if it can really tap into um, just more heat, more storm fuel just to the south of it.
Yeah, the question is
Can
can
it?
it catch it? Can it catch it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, for those of you watching, right now we're just kind of in we're just kind of, holding to see what this is going to do. Let me turn lightning back on. The lightning has decreased a little bit. 500-ish less strikes than before. Still a lot of lightning, no question about it.
Right.
Primarily in the southwestern edge of this, there's a lot of lightning there. Crazy how confined it is to the area there.
The stuff south of Chicago is certainly it's trying to tug south.
It is, and it's trying to become more linear.
Yeah.
This is kind of,
And they're
and we're
strengthening
gonna,
too.
yeah, we're gonna get. This is what's gonna really help us understand this over the next 30 minutes on how this evolves.
Yep. Donnie thinks Fountain County is going to get missed.
Where's Fountain County?
I think it's right by Lafayette. Fountain County. Nope. Yeah, just southwest of Lafayette.
I mean, you might get missed from this piece, but I think you're going to get thunderstorms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you get missed from what's there right now. What's closest? I think you're watching up here across the Chicago metro area. Um,
Now, it'll be
what
interesting,
fills in?
Michael, if this first piece does continue to mosey southeast and doesn't kind of dip down and south with time. It's going to be that the secondary piece there south of Chicago, which is going to be closer to say Indianapolis, areas closer towards the Illinois Indiana border, probably would be a little bit of a slower timing, I would imagine, if
Mm-hmm.
that type of situation played out, or when it be the 5:30 time frame that we mentioned, it would be probably something closer to, I don't know, 6 to 7,
Yeah.
closer to 7, I would best guess at this point. So
Mm-hmm.
still very fluid situation.
It's like a new warning for the west side of this right here. Should be popping in any moment. New severe thunderstorm warning there. It'll be near Morris, Illinois, northwest of Kankakee. That should pop up momentarily. I would hope it's not popping in yet. I'm not sure why, but it already came across the ticker.
Give it some time. Give it some time.
Yeah, but this area here is under a severe thunderstorm warning now. It just needs to be updated. So this part is certainly starting to come alive. Um, but I don't understand why it's not populating there on the screen. That doesn't make any sense. It's never been that slow. Hmm. Here it is.
Even okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
there's a BAM warning. Was it ours that we issued that, or was it?
I'm looking at another radar software, Michael, and I
Yeah.
don't see it.
Okay, maybe it was ours
Could be.
that didn't.
Yep.
Okay, interesting. So a BAM warning, nonetheless, severe thunderstorm warning up here. Damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour, heavy rain, lightning. So seeing some indication of this starting to pick up and organize. So this probably organizes fairly quickly in the next 30 minutes or so. Um, Someone's saying they can hardly hear me. I don't know. Maybe it's because I was further away from the mic.
Michael, I hear you just fine, man.
Okay,
If I have to be honest.
copy that. Copy that. Okay, I'll pull this out a little bit. For those of you just tuning in, we'll a lot of you, probably will probably see a little bit more people jump in as it gets closer into Indy Metro and kind of central Indiana, where um, this my camera's gone. Hello, you can no longer see me. I don't know what's going on here.
You're
Let's,
back.
I'm back. Um, what we're doing right now, guys, is this we're kind of just watching this evolve. As we're sitting here, there's a new tornado warning now for LaPorte and Marshall, St. Joseph, and Stark County in Indiana there until 4 o'clock. Um, Kind of on the north end of the apex of this bow here, you can see moving into La Paz, Lakeville, Plymouth, Indiana, new tornado warning. Um,
Mhm.
that's going to go until, or for the next 42 minutes. Again, LaPorte, Marshall, St. Joseph, and Stark until 4 p.m. Um, see if we can turn on rotation here in the radar. And some indication there of some rotation.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but there's some there. And these would be the types of tornadoes that spin up and spin back down very quickly. Um,
Mhm. Embedded.
yeah, I'm going to stand up and then I'm going to increase the volume of my mic a little bit because I can see some people are. Okay, maybe that'll help. I'll stand for a while.
Michael, for what it's worth, the area south of Chicago, that's starting to get its act together. Teams getting 45 miles per hour.
Okay. Yeah, and that makes sense. Kind of the timing we did earlier. I can kind of clean this up. Clean this up a little bit. Let me do something real quick and I'm going to turn my lightning off just to get rid of that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of annoying. I'll time this out. Storm track. I'm still going to keep 48 miles an hour. And I'm going to do a little something like this.
If it matters, Michael, a lot of people saying they can hear us just fine
Okay,
in the chat.
that's nice. We appreciate that. Let's go a little something like this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Finish the track there. And again, not a lot of change in the overall timing. Still getting, if you're in Indy, you're still getting 5 o'clock on the dot here for your arrival. Um, and again, what I've done here is it's a little sloppy because of the orientation of this, but I've tried to kind of indicate, we're going to start seeing a little bit more of a bow-like feature start to develop the further south and east it goes. That's a gut call. That's not necessarily a slam dunk just yet, but
Michael, I'm looking at the loop, um, and it looks like within the last 1, 2, 3 frames of the radar, maybe picking up in steam and intensity a little bit, and it looks like lightning has jumped up as well in the last few scans.
okay. Let me look. I'm just looking. I'm just looking.
I'm looking at most notably is about towards Winnemac, east of Knox, towards Rensselaer.
Mm-hmm. That backside development has absolutely changed the evolution of this entirely. And I want to show something here. I can see exactly what has happened. I want you guys to see what I'm looking at here. If I go here to local radar, you'll see this I'm going to go to expert mode here. You'll see the outflow that came off of this. Um, so this thing came through Chicago, right? You see where it's at right here. This was kind of the leading edge, the nasty area of storms that went through Chicago. As it continued, this is the outflow it shot off.
Mm-hmm.
And that shoots this way. As that happens, you can see as the outflow is moving, watch the thunderstorms rapidly develop as it does so. Um, and so that's what's kind of changed this here the last, 40 minutes or so. And it's probably somewhat kind of cycling, really. It may be kind of regrouping, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but these things do have a mind of their own. They do. I mean, these clusters can be a real bear to figure out.
For sure. And Michael, I know where that tornado warning is at, kind of Lakeville, Plymouth area, in northwestern Indiana, rotation there. I wonder if that's a MCV starting to form on the north side of the bow.
Can sure see the spin there, can't you?
And sometimes these can enhance the lift, right? Gives the system a little bit more of a punch versus otherwise, with that. So just something interesting I'm noting. I don't know if it's just an embedded area of circulation or if it's a full blown in MC. When I say MCV, it's a mesoscale convective vortex. It's essentially a mini low pressure system. It's a little bit different than a tornado or just a straight up low. It's a little bit different, a little bit more unique.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see the spin on the radar. I mean, it looks like it's rotating even.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree completely.
That alone, I don't mind the tornado warning from um, the NWS.
Mm-hmm. No, not at all. Yeah, in fact, I think if you're in and around, um, come in here just a little bit. Yeah, you can definitely see the spin there. That
Hmm.
Walkerton, Lakeville. Um, oop, come on now, go playing games with my heart. Um, you can see the rotation here for sure, albeit broad, but it is there um, as it's moving in. North Liberty, Walkerton, Lakeville, La Paz, Indiana. If I'm saying that correctly, just east of Kankakee. It looks to be kind of taking this route here. Definitely rain wrapped. You're not going to be able to see it, um, but it's certainly rotating for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
the
interesting,
rotation.
interesting comment here by Josh Shelton. He says the cloud tops are warming the further south it goes. Um, yeah, I mean that may play into the maybe the ability to we didn't get as much in the way of heating today as we thought we'd get with the lapse rates. Um, but I think once this thing gets established and does get a mind of its own, um, it may not matter. But question is where does it do that at, and when? Um,
Right.
and I'm just wondering, the disconnected nature of this. You know, when does this start to do this? Does it? Or is it more attracted to the drier air that was east here, where the cold pulling was going on? A couple of questions here that I'm not 100% clear on right now, if I'm being honest. Interesting
It
setup.
it is one thing I'll say, Michael, is I'm looking at the instability gradient um, right now, and it becomes very apparent. I would say closer to Warsaw, Wabash, just east of Kokomo, Marion. So it may need to drift east by about 1 to 2 counties, and then it really encounters that north-south gradient and instability. It may be at that point, Michael, as it gets into that gradient where it can start to drop off a cliff and go more south.
Yeah, let's see that. I can.
That's what I would suspect, at least.
Yeah. So what Matt's saying is that gradient is kind of right here. Once it gets to that, might it start to have more of a north-south movement with it? You would say traditionally, yes, that's what would happen. The idea would be it stops moving as much east as it has, and it starts to get more of a southward component as it gets closer to that gradient. Um, which again, I think by 4 o'clock we'll have a much better idea um, of that as it gets closer.
Mhm.
Hmm. Hmm, hmm, hmm. All right, I'm going to go back over here.
La Paz, Michael. You did pronounce it wrong.
Wow. What do you know?
Come on, man.
Well, I never get it right. I never do. One of these days, I'm going to be good enough for everyone here. They're going to love me for who I am.
One day, Michael.
One day, we'll go to North Webster here and keep this thing in motion for a little bit. I will
Bill.
say, Matt, in the last couple of frames, and again, for those of you watching, we're kind of in analysis mode right now. We're just kind of waiting to get a clearer picture. But last couple of frames, maybe a little bit more southward suggestions here if you watch right here.
Yeah. Kind of just east of Rensselaer.
Right there. Maybe
Yeah.
right there. Okay. That's what we're watching, guys. Uh it'll I think we hit around 5 ish PM uh in the central Indiana area. 5 ish PM. Maybe 5:30. If it slows down a little bit, 5:36 based on backside stuff, but it's the idea right now. We are back to dealing with being a wannabe meteorologist, though, man. I do think that, you know,
One day. One day
yeah,
we'll
one
be.
one day I hope I've reached the pinnacle of everyone's desires for me.
That's all I wanted to be in life, Michael, is a real meteorologist.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Well, outside of the rotation by Plymouth, I'm not seeing any rotation elsewhere.
Mm-mm. Nope, a wall of wind, and I think here's what I think we should do. I think we should take a 30 to 45 minute break from being live
Okay.
and watch how this evolves. Um, because I over the next 30 to 45 minutes, I have a lot of questions about everything I'm seeing right here, and I really need to watch what happens um, over the next 30 to 45 minutes. So what we'll do is we'll take a break, and we'll certainly, as this gets closer, we're going to be here. We're just kind of watching it right now evolve, and we'll have some conversations there with the team and chat amongst ourselves and get a good idea of see what everybody else is thinking, and um, come back on. I would say let's call it just 4:15, unless this thing goes to hell in a handbasket in the next 45 minutes, and all hell breaks loose. But let's say 4:15 ish. We'll come back. Be on the lookout. We're gonna get our thoughts together, um, and keep you guys posted.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, guys. Chat soon.